stepping into the future. Because at this point, you've done what I call the 7 people training, where it's basically the 7 people list building, where you've made a list of 7 people who you know that know you in some way. You guys know each other directly, indirectly, but you know them and they know you. 7 people who are living at a level beneath you, and 7 people who are living at a level above you. Okay? And you wanna find out what it is that people who live at a level beneath you are not doing that you're doing, that you can live at a level above them. Okay? And then you want to know, what do you recognize about people who are living at a level above you? What are you not doing that they're doing? What are they doing that they're able to live at a level above you? And then what's the one commonality that you see, that you recognize in all the people that live at a level above you, the 7 people, right? And when you find out that commonality, you're going to know what it is that you're missing. That's a clue of what you are missing in your life that you need to immediately have. You need to immediately start doing, put it into work, create it, because that's what's keeping them at that level. Okay? And it's found in that commonality of all the people that live above you, those 7 people. Okay? Now, I want to tell you that when you created these lists, probably when you made the list of the 7 people living beneath you, you found it was kind of hard to think of 7 people that live beneath you. You probably were like, I don't know, you probably were thinking, okay, 1 or 2 people immediately came to your mind. Then as you got to the 3rd or 4th person, you were really putting some thought to it, you know? And you were looking around in your mind to think of people you know, directly, indirectly, and maybe another person popped into your mind. And then you found yourself not wanting to be judgmental of people's lifestyle or how they choose to live. But as I said to you, don't take it easy on them. Be transparent about it. This is a list that they won't see. This is for you, because we're moving you to becoming 10 times better, right? So this is an exercise just for you. Now, as you were thinking on that, you probably were struggling to come up with 7 people who are living life at a level beneath you. But when you started that list of 7 people you know either directly or indirectly that are living at a level above you, man, they were just popping into your mind. They were just popping into your thoughts. You knew, you figured, you probably came up with 7 people fast. Why is that? Right? So I want you to think about that. Why is it that it's easier to think of 7 people immediately who live at a level higher than you than it is for you to find 7 people who are living at a level lower than you? Why is that? And I'm going to share with you part of the secret to why that is. Okay? And then when you leave here, you're going to have an understanding of why that is. And now, when you start putting these things into play and to action in your life, you will be one of those 7 people that someone else thinks of when they think of high level living people, and people who are actually making things happen, and who are actual people who make changes in the world or do good for others or helping others transform their lives and being productive in not only the community but in the world. You're adding, you're contributing value. See, that's really where everything lays out. Is to be 10 times better. It doesn't just mean that you absorb everything for yourself. It's that you get something for yourself that you can now impart it in others, and you're adding value. You're changing the quality of people's lives. You're not just changing their lives, but the quality of their lives. Now, so within that understanding, you also have to come to realize very quickly, you cannot help people who don't want to help themselves. Okay, so that's number one. You cannot help people who do not want to help themselves. So anyone who doesn't want to help themselves, they're not willing to do this one thing that successful people do. Well, maybe it's more than one thing, but we'll focus on this one thing here. Okay? Now, I want to tell you the other part of the assignment that I gave you last time was I asked you to write a letter to your past, right? And in writing a letter to your past, I told you two things I wanted you to really look at, and that was, what advice would you give your past? What's that one piece of advice as you write that letter to your past that you would give to your past self? Right? Now, what is that one piece of advice that you would give to your past? Because you're able to look back at your past and you know your past. You have no idea what tomorrow holds, but you do know what was happening yesterday in your life. If you could look back at your past and write this letter to your past self, what's the one golden piece of advice you would give your past self? And if you know what that one piece of advice is, whatever you wrote down, whatever that one piece of advice is, I want you to start acting on it in your life today. Do it today. Okay? Apply it to your life now. Apply it now. If you could, the other thing I asked you was, what's the one thing you would tell your past self to look out for in the future? What's the one thing you would tell your past self to look out for in the future? Okay? And if you wrote that down and you know what that one thing is, and start looking out for that in your future now. Apply it in your life now. Adjust it to fit your life now and start looking out for it in the future, in your future right now. That's the key. Okay, so stepping into the future. How do you step into the future? Well, I'm going to tell you something that when I share this with you guys, if you don't apply it, it's real simple, okay? I'm going to keep it real with you guys. What I'm going to share with you right now, if you do not apply this in your life, don't cry over why you don't have the things you desire, okay? Stop crying over it. Just stop worrying about it. You really don't want it. It's as simple as that. I'm just going to cut to the chase. That's what it is, okay? If it's real, I'm just keeping it real. If you want to really have what you want in life, you will understand the principle, the concept I'm about to explain to you. You'll get it, and you'll apply this to your life and never, ever let it go. And here it is. When I first got involved with this one particular company, and I noticed that the company was reaching their goals every year for the past 3 years. So, for example, if this particular company, now this is a particular company I worked with, and was very successful there. And I remember 3 years, I made sure to take note of this, okay? And what I noticed was every year they would set a goal. But the goal they would set, the year would be a high number. Like they wanted to make a certain amount of money for the year. That was the goal. So, they had to make, I don't know, I'm making up numbers right now. These are not actual numbers. They said, just to give you an idea, 1 year they might say something like, okay guys, we need to make 20 million this year. Okay? And that was the number. And maybe the next year they would say, okay, this year we need 25 million. We made 20 million last year. We need to step it up. We need to make it 25 million this year. And then the year after, they'd say, okay guys, we did it. We hit 25. Now, we need 35 million this year. Let's go for it. Now, they would do this at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year. They'd fly everybody out from wherever under whatever rock they were. Didn't matter where you where you lived in the world. If you were part of this company's team and focused on the company goal of making whatever they set for the year, they flew you all in one place, okay? And this is what you did for at least 3 days, all day. Sit in a room with your laptop, with your, presentations, with all your stuff, with all your energy, and you sit there and you all come together as one mind, brainstorming on what you can eliminate and what you can add that will help you achieve the goal of the company for the year. Now, why am I telling you this? Because this always amazed me. Because when you really think about this, this was something they would set. Okay? Just hear me when I say this. This is something they would set. They would say, okay, we need to make 20 million this year. And so you would say, in your mind, right? Like I'd sit there and I go, wow, 20 million? So that means that at this time next year, this company wants 20 million in its bank account. Okay? That means that if I started this meeting on January 5th, 2016 and told everyone, okay guys, the goal this year is to make 20 million. And then come January 4th, 2017, that's what I want in my account for the company overall. Right? Okay. Once that hit, it's not like I wanted the 20 million anytime before. Anytime before it. I wanted it at the deadline of the overall agreement to make 20 million for the year. Okay? Now, here's what they would do. Now, this is what you want to understand, guys. So, how many months are in 1 year? So it's 12 months in 1 year. So they would break up. What they would do is they would break it up in quarters. Okay? They would take those 12 months and break it up into quarters. And they would go Q1, that's quarter 1. Then they'd go Q2, quarter 2, Q3, quarter 3, and Q4, quarter 4. Okay? Now, each quarter consists of 3 months. Okay? And then that would give them, what this would do is it would give them a deadline, a start date, and a deadline to have a certain amount in. See, it wasn't about let me get it all at this certain time. No, it was quarter by quarter we went. Okay, so now what they would do is, as I said, think of it in quarters. Break the quarters up into 4 quarters for the year. So each quarter is 3 months. Right? So quarter 1, 1, 2, 3. Quarter 2, 4, 5, 6. Quarter 3, 7, 8, 9. Quarter 4, 10, 11, 12. Just broke the year up like that. Right? And so what they would do then is go, okay, now Q1. What is the goal that we have for Q1? And somebody would say, okay, well, let's just shoot for 80 grand this quarter. If we could just get 80 grand in, that's good. Let's start there. And you know what? Everybody would work for Q1 to bring in 80 grand. Now, and this just went on and on, guys. I'm just giving you an example here. But listen to this. Here's the point I want you to walk away with. Here's the point I want you to walk away with. one day, sitting in one of these meetings, it hit me. And I realized how they were able to be successful year after year and keep making the numbers. Keep making the numbers, right? And that was this. They were able to step into the future. What they would do is say, yo, let's make 20 million this year. Okay, great. So January 4th, 2017, we're going to have $20 million. Okay? And everybody, that's the agenda for everybody. Now, guess what? We don't have $20 million right now. We know we don't have it. We know we don't have it. But we wrote it down and told everyone this is the goal we want. And we set it a year away on the same exact date that we started the goal. So January 4th, 2016, I made the announcement. Therefore, I'm telling you, I want it by January 4th, 2017. Right? So what did they do? Who in the world knows what's going to happen between now and 2017? Right? I mean, California could go underwater. Hurricane or Storm Sandy's sister, Sally could be coming. Who knows? Just crazy stuff could take place between now and then. But here's what's even crazier. The fact that they stepped into the future and set this goal, it does something. It already solidifies it in your mind, in your consciousness, that that's what's supposed to be. That's what's supposed to happen. That's how it is. And now you go out and believe it to be. So therefore, you start creating it, and it all comes to you because it's energized. It's energized. I want you to think of even like a TV show. Heck, forget the TV show. Think of movies. Think of movies. Guys, how many times have you been sitting around and you watch a trailer to a movie come out, right? And you know how those I'm sorry, just cracked myself up. You watch the trailers, right? And the guy in the trailer always comes out, in a world filled with this. You're like, oh my God, yo, what's this? And they show you some special effect. And so you watch the trailer and the movie gets you, right? Because all the special effect and the narrator's voice sounds all good and stuff. And then next thing you know, right, they leave you on a cliffhanger in the trailer. Coming 2018. You get up out your seat, you be like, yo. You don't even know if you're going to be around to see that movie in 2018. In 2018. The world could come to an end, right? But guess what? Does that stop the studio from setting those dates? Does that stop the movie studio from setting a date that far out and starting production at some time with an end date? So, of course it doesn't stop them, because what they do is they have to set the date because they need a deadline and they need a start date. They have to step.